Drag queen slams children taught by drag queens. This is a very good story, and round of applause to this person for having the courage to say what has been said here. Actual drag queen slams woke parents for allowing their kids to be around drag queens. Drag queen Kitty Demure posted a viral video in which he expressed his amazement at why woke parents are allowing their kids to be around drag queens, asking, would you want a stripper or a porn star to influence your child? Well, the reason these woke parents are doing it is because they think it's woke to do it. Oh, it's inclusivity. I'm so kind and so woke. Demure questioned why drag queens had attracted so much respect from the left, given that they've done little more than put on makeup, jump on the floor and writhe around and do sexual things on stage. I have absolutely no idea why you would want that to influence your child. Would you want a stripper or a porn star to influence your child, he asked. Good on him. It's called common sense. Oh, well, I'm woke. I don't do common sense. Demure went on to point out that drag queens perform in clubs for adults and that backstage there's a lot of sex, nudity and drugs, so I don't think this is an avenue you would want your child to explore. To get them involved in drag is extremely irresponsible on your part, Demure told parents, adding that many went along with it to appear cool or woke to their leftist friends. Exactly. Sod the children. Don't matter about them. As long as I'm perceived to be woke, that's all that matters. He said you can raise your child to be just normal, a normal, regular, everyday child without including them in gay sexual things. The drag queen went on to argue that things like drag queen story time, which is happening all over the world, it's not coordinated or anything, that drag queen story time, which involve kids, are actually harmful to the LGBT community too, because they advance the notion that gay people are perverts, paedophiles and deviants. We don't need you to bring your kids around, so keep them at home or take them to Disneyland. But if you need your child to be entertained by a big human in costume or in makeup, take them to the circus or something, he said. Don't ruin your child's life and don't ruin ours, because that's what you're doing. There was a teacher at a school, Willis High School in Texas, who said that parents shouldn't have the final say in raising their own kids. This is the cult agenda. He won't know that, an idiot. After some of them complained about a drag queen visiting the school to give a talk to children. If parents were just aware of what happens to their children at school, many children and many schools, then they might just wake up. Always another story, a classic censorship of woke. Denver Post columnist says he was fired for his belief that there were only two sexes. The Denver Post's most read columnist says he was fired by the newspaper for his belief that there are only two sexes. In a Facebook post, John Caldara said he was dismissed because his writing was, quote, too insensitive. My column is not a soft voice, sticky sweet, NPR-styled piece, which employs the language now mandated by the victim-centric, identity politics-driven media, he wrote. What seemed to have been the last straw for my column was my insistence that there are only two sexes, and my frustration that to be inclusive of the transgendered, even that word isn't allowed, we must lose our right to free speech. The columnist said that he refused to bend the knee to newspeak and declined to use only the words mandated by the perceptually offended and perpetually offended, adding the Conservatives are now mandated to use the language of ideological opponents. He said he was in favour of gay marriage, had LGBT friends and didn't care who used what bathroom, but that wasn't enough, refusing to adopt the language of woke ideological stormtroopers who now patrol the boundaries of acceptable language is a cardinal sin worthy of cancellation and being fired. Oh, wait, another transgender story. This is amazing because this is not about inclusivity. It's about exclusivity. Because everything's inverted. You only have to invert it, and then you get the truth. Transgender MMA fighter who fractured a woman's skull, named bravest athlete in history. Well, there's a headline for you. MMA fighter Fallon Fox twice broke an opponent's skull to win matches, and now he's being praised by some in the LGBT community. Outsports, a sports news website that focuses on LGBT issues in sports, named Fox the bravest athlete in history in a recent article written by Sid Zeigler. Fox, who is a biological male fighting physically weaker females and inflicting life-altering harm, apparently qualifies as brave because, according to Zeigler, she was the target of a torrent of hatred I have literally never seen targeting an LGBTQ athlete. As intense as the hatred Fox may have been subjected to, it is unlikely that the social media comments directed his way ever fractured his skull. The title of bravest athlete would have been much more appropriately bestowed on the biological females who dared to enter the cage with a fighter they had no hope of matching in terms of power and ability. The world is frickin' insane. And thank goodness we have had this guy, Lawrence Fox, he's a British actor, speaking out on the woke issue. And of course, he's got much abuse coming back, but also enormous support for calling out woke and for calling out people who attack people for being white, privilege, or just white, for being the racists they are. And here's a classic. What Lawrence Fox said is he couldn't have a partner who was woke because basically it would drive him crazy. And he said he had a partner who turned out to be woke, and they parted because he couldn't stand it. And this has been the response from a feminist writer called Vicky Spratt. She said, men not wanting to date woke women is an insidious trend that could lead to the radicalization of terrorists. Only from the woke mind could such utter crap emerge. In an article for Vice Media outlet, Refinery 29, whatever that is, Spratt gets all worked up about Lawrence Fox, the British actor, recently triggered a monumental hissy fit by daring to suggest that the UK was not a racist country and that white privilege doesn't exist. Fox has given several interviews in which he explains how he refused to date woke women who are obsessed with political correctness. He said he even dumped his girlfriend last year because she praised Gillette's insufferable toxic masculinity commercial. It's all part of targeting men for reasons I explain in the books. According to Spratt, Fox's dating choices are part of an insidious social trend that would inevitably lead to women being killed by terrorists. There's nothing funny about the things Fox, or Wokey Wokeface, as he now wants to be known, is saying, she said. It's also not particularly sad, it's dangerous. He is just one of very privileged men, and a result of that said privilege has been given a platform. Well, what about all the woke people that are given endless platforms in the media to spout what they believe? Are they privileged? Oh, no, they're not privileged because they're saying the right thing. They're victims. And he's used that platform to legitimize a bigger backlash against diversity and progress, which is unfolding every single day in less public corners of the internet, she writes. And then she cites the killing of Labour MP Joe Cox by right-wing terrorist Joseph Mayer. Well, lots of questions about that still unanswered. As well as the Christchurch shooting and the El Paso shooting, despite the fact that none of these shootings had anything to do with anti-feminism or hatred of women. But it doesn't matter. Woke is a fact-free zone. But thank goodness people like Ricky Gervais at the Globe Awards and Lawrence Fox on a TV program, BBC program, when he was targeted by a woke person in the audience, I've actually had the backbone to stand up and speak their truth. Because what happens with most celebrities is if they say something even mild that is considered out of woke line, they immediately fall to their knees, call for the sackcloth and the ashes, and beg for forgiveness, which just empowers the tyranny. So it's been a really good thing, and it's also opened the debate, because what's happening is you've got a tiny minority of wokers who are imposing their will by dominating the microphones, supported by the system in all its forms, because the system wants this to happen. And then you've got the mass of the population that overwhelmingly is aghast and appalled by it and doesn't want any of it. And by intimidating people into silence, people don't become aware of the real public opinion as opposed to the fake apparent public opinion through the microphone's shrill voices. And what happens when people like Ricky Gervais and Lawrence Fox take their public platform and speak out against it, then we start to see just how much support they have in calling out this. It is a tyranny. It's a tyranny. But the woke mentality is not expanded enough to see that it's a tyranny. Those on the inside that are orchestrating it are absolutely aware of that. Anyway, so that's a good thing. And I've done a public video cast about this as well, which is now on davidicke.com.